Hello everyone, I'm Tom64.
And I'm Richie.
And welcome back to the Klonoa Fancy Reverie series. Last time we finished off the first game, Klonoa Door to Phantomile. Today we're going to be covering the sequel, Klonoa 2 LUNATEA'S Veil. Moving from the PS1 to the PS2 now. I've got to be honest, if I knew little about the first game, I knew even little about the sequel. To be honest, I feel like there was an anti-2D bias at the time from Sony. Like they were going all in on the 3D and whatnot. So I don't know. Did this sell well back in the day?
I don't think it sold tremendously well. It did get very well received, kind of critically. I mean, it went on to be GameSpy's PS2 Platform Game of the Year in 2004, and was later named the 20th best PlayStation 2 game by the website. Gaming Age named it Best Platform in Best of 2001 Awards. And also it was the runner-up in GameSpot's annual Best Platform Game Awards among console games, although it lost to Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I'm not sure about that, fam, but yeah, this is really interesting, because of all the screenshots I've looked at, it just looks like a slightly touched-up PS1 game, which is not to say I'm bashing it, per se. It's just that I can kind of understand why Sony wouldn't help out Namco and try and push the franchise, but I'm really glad this is on this collection, because it never made it outside the PS2, unlike the first game, which obviously had the Wii remake, and then that got touched up into what you see here on the Fancy Reverie collection. So, swings and roundabouts, really. You will get your day in the sun. It's kind of like Live Alive. Nintendo's fascination with wanting to put it on the Virtual Console in Japan actually led to that getting the remake that it did.
Oh, that's good, and it definitely seems like it. You certainly seem to be enjoying it anyway.
Oh, I'm loving it, mate. I'm gonna try my damnedest to bring that to the channel in 2023.
I have to say, I am very glad that we get to bring Klonoa 2 to the channel as well, because it's strange, because even though I never actually played the full game as a kid, I just played that demo disc, which had this first level, and also Jungle Slider, which we'll get to later on in this session, I believe.
Oh, so fun.
The two of them together left such an impact on me that all those years later, when the Wii remake of the original came out, I was just like, oh, that's from the game that I really liked playing that I could never find as a kid. And then that made my day. And then when eventually I managed to find a copy of Klonoa 2, I think I might have just gone, you know what, I'm just going to order it off of eBay or something. I need to play this game, goddammit.
Oh, Jesus.
And had a whale of a time and was just like, yes, this was everything I wanted it to be. And then the fact that it got, remastered, remade here just makes me even happier, because honestly, it's a wonderful little game, and it deserves all of the accolades it has ever achieved. It's just so much fun. I
wouldn't say Door to Phantomile is a bad game, but compared to the sequel here, it feels very standard. LUNATEA'S Veil just amps things up immensely. You can see the story is a lot more detailed already, with more fleshed out NPCs. I feel like the level design is more refined. There's no very awkward jumping over bottomless pits all the time, which can lead to an OCD riddled Entom having a whale of a time himself, as in the whale falls down and crushes him. And just everything else, the presentation, the music, etc., just feels like a sequel should, bigger and better. I'm still not the biggest fan of some elements of LUNATEA'S Veil, namely the collectibles being do or die in certain circumstances, which I'm just telling you guys now, if we fail to get all of them, that's fine. I have a lot of things to do. Richie needs to get back to practicing for his choir performance in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes.
I got other games in my heart. You need to get them out of there. We need to call a surgeon immediately.
It's not like collecting all the Moment Dolls actually provides any additional plot. You just get 2 extra levels that you can play that aren't necessarily even as fun as Blues Tower. So, we're not missing anything out. But that said, the rest of the game, so much fun. Utterly delightful.
Indeed. So this is Popka, the Digimon-looking fella, and Lolo, the priestess in training.
They're going to be our companions throughout the rest of the game. Lolo is delightful, sweet, innocent, trying her hardest, but also very easily scared by a lot of things, and is also going to basically be our Hupo substitute in allowing us to use the ring. Popka is just going to be here to be a sarcastic git throughout most of the game, but you know, I like a bit of sarcastic comic relief. Makes me happy.
Well, the game feels a little bit more mature / darker, not in the sense of like we're going to be seeing blood and gore here and there, but I feel it like tackles its subject matter a little bit more head-on, as opposed to being a bit more child-friendly in the first game, with the exception of Grandpa being explodified.
Maturing is definitely the right way of phrasing what Klonoa 2 does. It's as if we have gone from being a child to being a teenager.
Yeah.
Effectively. Everything's a little bit darker, a little bit angstier, but also a little bit more challenging in certain places, a little bit more refined, a little bit more well-constructed, obviously looks a little bit better, although obviously some people go through slightly more challenging phases during puberty, but you know, that happens.
Well put, Richie, well put. You should be an ambassador for, I don't know, video games with that kind of spiel.
Yeah, it is a real step up from the original Klonoa, although the original Klonoa is the one that more people remember fondly and think back on, but I think that is just because people have a much bigger hard-on for the PlayStation 1 era in terms of when you're looking at nostalgia than perhaps the PlayStation 2 era, even though obviously that is probably and arguably the biggest and most popular era of gaming that exists, because the PS2 was huge.
That's actually my favourite gaming generation.
That's fair. It was that was certainly the era of and the generation that most impacted me, because that was obviously when I was a kid. GameCube, PlayStation 2, those were my first consoles.
Bless.
Apart from obviously, you know, Game Boy Color and that jazz, but first home consoles. They were very impactful on young me.
Indeed. Alright, so we got the branching paths. We got less health, it seems, this time around. It's both an easier game in terms of like more smooth level design, but it's also kind of more challenging, like I said, with less health and
yes, so you do have to be a little bit careful, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
Let's go back down here.
Yes, we want that. Well, I do believe it's a heart, but you know, we got hit, we want a heart.
Just keeping an eye out for these Momat dolls. All you really get for completing those levels they unlock is, I believe it's the sound test. Like, the first level unlocks the first half, the second unlocks the second half.
And I believe you get the first level by collecting half of the Momet dolls. You get the second level by getting the other half of them. So it's pretty easy to get through.
Alright, I see the next one. It wasn't really trying to hide it all that well, let's be honest.
They don't really hide most of them in this first level. And actually, obviously, once again, if you want to collect all of the Dreamstones, you do get a little something. It's a bit more than you got in the original Klonoa, because I don't think I actually got anything in the original Klonoa regarding that. But here you do get some lovely artwork, but you can just Google that if you really need it. But this is the only level that I've actually ever, I think, achieved getting all of the Dreamstones. Maybe one other level, but it's not something that I have achieved myself, and I'm never going to attempt to achieve. But I am proud of myself that I have at least managed it on one level.
Wow. It's the surfing segment that always did me in. I could just, you know, never veer to the sides in time. And that is a do or die section there, so good luck restarting the level. Ah, you cheeky prankster, you had an egg on top of an egg. It's like a British Sunday breakfast. The fairy of give you more stuff.
Yes. And if you want to obviously get all the Dreamstones, you're going to have to do those perfectly. This particular level, not that difficult. The second we start to progress, have fun.
Yeah, not happening. Not happening. My mind is fragile as is, so I'm not going to waste time going for all that stuff. Gotta remember how short this windmill is.
Yeah, it is quite a short little throw.
These cannons are so fun.
I know, because if you hit the bumpers, or the triggers, I think it's the bumpers, you can get Klonoa to do a little taunt as he flies out of them, which is great. You can also do those taunts whilst just standing on the ground, and I think even while walking. It's quite fun. But yeah, I do tend to do that a lot whenever I'm using them, so you just go through all of them, it's just like, woohoo, 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 woohoo! Constantly.
He has his fun where he can take it, I suppose. No, you gotta face it. That's how you hit a bell, Tom. You hit it by facing it. Okay, but seriously, why are you a wind spirit? I understood Hupad doing that because he could literally change his form, but you're just a priestess in training.
It's the priestess's powers, and actually the way that it's sort of explained here is that only priestesses can make the bells ring, so only priestesses can make the rings work.
Aww. You also look like a Digimon, come to think of it.
I mean, they all look like Digimon, let's be real.
Someone actually drew on Twitter Klonoa as like a proper Digimon who was in training and rookie form and whatnot. It was delightful. I am now going to provide no information for you guys to be able to find that image because I'm just that sort of commentator. Oh, yeah. Also a lot more cinematic as well, which I really appreciate.
And also a much more involved world map, as we're about to see.
Oh yeah, I love me a world map. Maybe this is why I prefer, like, Super Mario World to Super Mario Bros. 3. Because both have world maps, but world actually feels like a proper world, as it were.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Maguchi's Island. Some of these are just like story sequences.
Roughly, it's not exact science, but it's usually a story part like this, and then 2 or 3 levels, one of which is usually a boss fight, story level, which for the most part does tend to be going back to Maguchi's Island, at least for the early part of the game, and then repeat.
Oh, he's a Rayman fella.
He is.
Ah, a bell tower.
Yes, we're going to be doing a lot of bell ringing throughout this game. Very fitting, you know, considering I'm going to be the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and that just makes me very happy.
I was going to say, yeah.
Although I don't get to do any bell ringing, which, you know, sucks to be me.
They should have hired me for Quasimodo, you don't even need a costume. Oh, I love this video game trope. You must go to the 4 elemental-themed kingdoms.
They've actually got a really clever way of theming all of these realms, because rather than it being, you know, fire area, ice area, water area, although, you know, it's not entirely far off that, it's more based on emotions.
Yes.
So you got the Bell of Tranquility, the Bell of Joy, Bell of Anger, the Bell of... I can't remember what the other one is.
Might be the Bell of Forgetfulness, honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, it certainly feels like it. Oh yeah, so Kingdom of Joy, Kingdom of Tranquility, Kingdom of Discord, Kingdom of Indecision, and then the mysterious 5th Bell.
Ah.
And actually what's really fascinating about this world is that you've got all these different elements of, I suppose, a personality. but you look at these kingdoms as, I suppose, versions of excess of these personality traits, and how those affect the world around them. So, as we will see, the Kingdom of Tranquility, they're about as laid back as you can bloody go. They're bloody horizontal.
So this is like a direct upgrade over the first game's more simple storytelling, you know, very simple tropes, very simple stakes and whatnot, stop evil guy from taking over the world and whatnot.
Yeah, there's actually development, there's actually thought and depth to everything that's going on here.
A bit more ambiguity from certain characters as well.
That too. There's a lot more of a grey area in everything that happens, whereas, you know, Guardius and Joker were thoroughly evil and up to no good. The villains of Klonoa 2? It's up for debate whether they're actually villains or not. They're certainly the antagonists.
Yeah.
But antagonist literally only means against the protagonist.
Oh, shield fellas. But gotcha.
I do like just being able to just fly through windy bits.
I did it. I did a little spinny.
There's two different versions. So there's the roly-poly and just sort of, I think one of them's like a Superman pose. It's great.
Oh yeah, baby. I'd never miss a trick.
Until we do, but you know, it doesn't really matter.
Until I do. Thank you, Rich. I was not going to say it. I was going to reframe it in something that made me look a little bit better, but you know, whatever, it's fine.
You see, this is what friends do.
I'll take your word for it. Even entering doors feels a little bit better. Fancy that.
I know, they fix things.
God bless them. Oh, hey.
It's a puzzle. Figure out how to get up and get that. It's not really that much of a puzzle.
Don't forget you can shoot into the foreground and whatnot. Remember these statues. That's all I'm going to say for now.
Yes. One thing that you will notice that this game is going to do, it is going to reuse levels. Which, you know, some people would be like, oh, that's lazy. It's not necessarily a reusing of levels, it's a... they always are going to come up with something unique for you to deal with.
They're remixed, I would say.
Yes, I'd say that is the best way of framing the levels that kind of come back again.
Got you.
You know, at least they give you a big old heart there.
Yeah, much like the first game, they're very generous with health and whatnot. It never feels like, oh, you son of a bitch sort of scenario, you know?
Maybe a couple of areas, a couple of levels where maybe it is a little bit like, oh, I hate you so much right now. Mostly thinking of some of the levels in the Kingdom of Discord, Volk. You know, so named after our very own Volkmar.
Yeah. Jesus.
Most of the time, yeah, it's pretty fair.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Volk levels, the city levels, because that is precisely where I stopped having like a super great time with the game.
I would say that is sort of probably the levels that I have the most difficulty with consistently in the game. I think they have some of the most difficult moment dolls to collect.
Just keeping an eye out for said moment dolls here.
To be fair, I cannot remember where half of them are, so...
Looks like we're out of luck here, boys.
The main thing is just sort of survive and get through. Obviously, these guys, just make sure that you throw a moo into them rather than running into them, because otherwise you will get chewed out.
Yeah, this adventure would go a lot faster if you stayed in the ring, I'm just saying.
It would, but she wanted to pray, and, you know, that's important.
Please, oh great statue, give us a Klonoa 3.
I mean, I'll get down and pray if we get a Klonoa 3.
Really wished you rephrased that differently. It's fine. You can pray standing up, no one's gonna judge you.
Just pick a god and prayed.
Seems a bit like normal to have a goddess just named Claire.
Yeah, it is, but then equally, if you, I suppose, look at most of the, I suppose, more Western religions, all of the names are relatively normal, apart from, you know, Jesus, that one's pretty unique.
Yeah.
But obviously Jesus' parents are just Mary and Joseph, and they're pretty standard.
Yeah, also, like, Jesus is very... what's the word I'm looking for here? Well used in, like, Hispanic culture, so...
So you have all sorts of options.
God, we chat a load of shit sometimes. You ever notice that?
It's entirely inevitable.
Good. You are so great at video games, Tom. This is why I subscribe. Yeah, just take your hand off the controller at that point, it's fine.
Yes, so... sneaky little thing here is obviously what you've got to do is you've got to get up to the top there, get the moo to then be able to make that double jump.
Hell yeah. Well, I like collecting things, okay? It's all my Banjo-Kazooie, Spyro, and, like, Crash Bandicoot playing nonsense.
Totally get that.
Okay.
And you're going to need that flying mode.
Take this as my sacrifice, great giant Digimon.
There you go, there's both of them. Wahoo and a rippa!
Huzzah! I believe these last two can be fairly tricky to get, because we have to manipulate this pendulum in the middle here.
Yes, so one of them, well, to get through this area, you've got to manipulate the pendulum. The first one is, yeah, this one over here to the side. The other one, we've basically got to just keep pushing that thing over to give ourselves a path.
Yeah, baby.
And not get hit by it on the way out.
Can it hit you?
I believe so. But obviously, I'm not going to test that theory.
Yeah, let's not. There we go. Yeah, baby. Ah, I love that little ditty.
I know, it's wonderful. Part of me's kind of sad that they got rid of the theme building up over the course of the game as you collect things, because I really liked that. But, you know, with this additional slightly harder moment dolls in places, it also doesn't make me mad because it means that I don't have to go through the levels again just to make sure that I get the happy little end to the level that I'm after.
Just a little happy end right there.
Yeah, as you can see, so tranquil, she's bloody horizontal. I mean, how dopey-eyed do you have to be?
Really? Is this the kingdom of, like, weed and whatnot?
Wouldn't surprise me, especially considering when we return to Lalakusha, it's going to be Noxious Lalakusha.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, you're giving me something, okay. I thought you were just going to fall asleep where you were standing.
No, she is making Lolo an official priestess. She has given her a feather in her cap.
Oh, a feather.
Also, have you noticed that her staff looks vaguely Hupo-like?
Oh my god, I never noticed that.
To be honest, I didn't either. I think that's because I wasn't paying that much attention. It was only now just going, that's Hupo.
Klonoa just blocked those memories out, I guess.
It's one of the things of Klonoa that's lore that's not necessarily clear is, does he remember the journeys that he's been on? Does he not? We simply don't know. I mean, we might know, but I've not played any of the other games, so I can't exactly comment.
Slight spoilers here, he actually meets up with Hupao again, which...
Oh yes, that is true.
I'm not sure I care for, lore-wise. You know, if you're gonna create an ending that definitive, you need a damn good reason to revisit it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think those were sort of in the games where they were throwing in all manner of characters, because I'm pretty sure Lolo and Popka and stuff were in those games as well, so... You know, it happens. But as much as I love Lolo and Popka, as we will go on to discuss, if a Klonoa 3 ever happened, I wouldn't want them back.
Yeah, give us an original land, original like partners and whatnot, just make it its own game.
Yeah, because I think that's ultimately the point of Klonoa. Even if, you know, I would love to see Lolo and Popka again, but, you know, emotions and thoughts are allowed to be conflicting.
They are. We are a confusing race of creatures as humans. Alrighty, next up is Klonoa Temple. Gotta fire them wind bullets.
I think it's a boss. Yeah, it's a boss.
It's definitely a boss. Look at that boss-ass arena, though. Now, this is another thing that got an upgrade from the first game. Because the bosses there were fine. These I found to be a lot more engaging and a lot more fun.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think also, for the most part, a lot better constructed. There is one exception, I would argue. Once again, in Volk. But everything else is great. But also, Liarina and Tat. Love these two.
Yeah, they're pretty rad.
And also, fun fact, I do believe that Tat's voice actress is also the voice actress for Mew in the Pokemon series. And I believe also did Togepi and Togetic. And also Pichu.
I can absolutely hear all of those. Straight to the point. I appreciate that. Alrighty. Grab that. Oh, I didn't like that.
Now, what you've got to do is wait for... Well, not wait. You've got to hit that big X on the tail.
Why even have that there? It seems a little bit counterproductive.
Video game enemy logic.
Everything's just spinning. A little bit too high there. Throwing it from ground level, I think, will suffice.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it does depend at what moment Fulguran gets close.
Why does it sound like a friggin' like arcade machine?
Well, I mean, it is a robot, so... Well, Armoured Beast, as it's called, but it obviously is a bit of a techie design.
Alrighty, is that it? Do you have a second phase? He sure does.
Oh yes, I'm pretty sure that basically all of the fights do have second phases, so they do all go on a bit longer than they did in the original, but it all works out because it's just a lot more engaging. And also it does feel like the stakes are upped quite a bit more in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I definitely agree, mate. I also appreciate that just a simple jump can get you over these. You don't need to, like, flap or anything.
Yes, I mean, it would make it nigh on impossible if you couldn't.
You okay, bro?
Well, no, he's miffed.
I guess I would be too, if I had a bunch of floating green Pokemon things thrown into my backside.
I would.
That slow motion kind of destruction thing kind of reminded me of KH1 a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, impressive. It was a little bit of a shit bot, but you managed to destroy it anyway. You did win, by the way.
Klonoa wins it out.
We're not Team Rocket, I swear.
Blasting off again!
No flying away because we actually have money! Jesse and James are so fucking poor.
Oh, yes.
I remember in the Electric Tale of Pikachu when they wind up on a beach somewhere where Ash is, and it's basically the Orange Islands arc. He's waiting to face whoever the dragon guy was, and Ash treats him to dinner, and they were like, "Oh, I can't believe I forgot the taste of plain white rice. How good this is!"
You saw it wasn't a jelly donut?
No, it definitely wasn't one of those. Ding dong. Give me a conflicting emotion, please. It's like Sonic and the Secret Rings. Can you imagine if he took in all 7 of those?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Klonoa would be alright. Klonoa's pretty chill in the grand scheme of things.
Sonic's pretty chill as well, though.
Yeah, but Sonic's a bit more emotional.
Huh. Yeah, I guess that's right.
Klonoa just sort of is just like, yeah, I'll just get on with these things. Sonic does like to have a bit of a moan every now and again, even if he is gonna just go and do it anyway.
He is a sarcastic bastard of the 90s, after all.
Yeah, which, I mean, has every right to be.
I think Sonic was just talking to me. Alright, just gonna stand there and watch my fist blow, I guess.